From the Middle is proud to be a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 162 of From the Middle. We are three middle-class guys in the middle chapters of our lives with a point of view that is somewhere in the middle or something else that belonged in the middle there. But y'all get the point, I think. Some of you might be new to us, and you're thinking, From the Middle? Surely that is that's a political podcast. And let me tell you what, you are absolutely incorrect. This week, we're talking about Dillon and his new house and the painting and lawns and ex-neighbor frivolity and things of that nature that comes along with that. Kory had tried Korean barbecue for the first time. Boy, this is all over the place. I had a train of thought and I lost it. And I stopped when I heard the
yeah, sorry about that.
Were you pooping though, or
probably
your intestines okay?
Yeah. Is that why the camera angle is way the heck up?
Yeah, sorry.
Leave
all this in. Leave all this in.
He's even hunched over.
I know. I mean, it's really remarkable how guilty you look.
I was just trying to show you the Empire State Building. Sorry, going on.
Motorcycles, super glue, shoes, music, and Tony Hawk. Enjoy the episode.
Oh, for the love.
Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it?
You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved. From the Middle after dark over here.
Someone had a painting party today. How's the house stuff going, bro?
Oh man, so good. It feels good to know that if needed, I could do a couple days hard work in a row. Like good, hard, honest work. I don't want to do it all the time. My collar is a little too white for that now, but it's nice to know in a bind that, as much as I enjoy eating, I can still push through the weight and work a 12-hour day, a couple of days in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good. Painting is as exhausting as I remember it. We did it a lot as Kory and I when we were younger, more so you, because you were also doing murals and cool stuff. For a short time, our mother had a painting business and we helped her out, and it's as exhausting as I remember it. But yeah, so a little bit of paint, a little bit of primer, a little bit of spackling. I got a thumb up of approval from our father, who came over and said I did a very good job spackling. So feeling good, riding this high, baby.
Yeah. So getting all the painting stuff done before you move in. Smart.
Trying. We're painting four rooms that will be used a ton. So just to get them caught up, they're very dark. It closes off the space. And it's just the beginning of home ownership stories. I'm caring about plants, horticulture, baby. Caring about plants and what my patio looks like, and how clean things are. I did have kind of a funny interaction Bree and I did with some neighbors. Since nobody knows where I live, I feel like I can tell the story, and it's not a thing. So there were some neighbors. There's a walking path out in front of our house, like a separate bike lane walking path. And so some folks were with their dogs, and they saw us, obviously new homeowners. The house has been sitting empty. So they said hi, we start chit chatting, and they reveal that the previous owners, it might have been a recurring thing that one of the previous owners would stand out in the yard and yell at people as they drove by. Now, I don't know, maybe just a bored heckler, not close enough to a comedy club. Maybe something more nefarious was going on. I don't know. Either way, God bless whatever they have going on. But the thing that I thought of instantly was perfect. We're not replacing the favorite neighbors in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the people that move in and it's like, and then people are like, oh, you're who took over for the Smiths.
Yeah.
Because frankly, we're going to be boring in our neighborhood, right? Like we're not going to have the huge Christmas party with champagnes and suits and like classy Christmas and whatever. That's not going to be us. So it's only uphill apparently after the previous owners. And before this story had been relayed, my sister-in-law was telling somebody that she works with where we had just bought. And that person was like, "Oh, is that the neighborhood with the crazy neighbor that yells out in front of their yard at like heckles cars?" And so I was like, this is a whole thing apparently that like people knew about. And again, I just felt validated that like only uphill as far as the community.
Have you seen this guy?
No, the whole thing with the selling, you don't even talk to previous owners.
Yeah. No, I get that. But my question, reason I ask is how unfortunate would it be if you like kind of look like them?
That's true. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't think so. Only because I know the occupation and I'm not fit enough for that occupation that they had. So
okay.
I'm sure no one's going to look
Painter?
at me. Maybe that's the guy. So I think we're in the clear there. Not a painter.
Okay.
Although I think if I kept this up, I would probably be pretty fit. So,
you mentioned spackling and feeling good about being able to put in a hard day's work. And the thought comes to mind that like, I feel like there's nothing like using a tool that like a normal everyday person doesn't use, but like once every couple of years, like a spackle tool.
Mm-hmm.
And a putty knife or things like that, and you just use that, and it just makes you feel extra manly that you got to use that tool today. And like, I don't know, it makes you want to just like take some of the spackle, accidentally get some on your jeans, and then like go to a convenience store and walk in and get something cold to drink, and with spackle on your clothes, and in the hopes that people will think, "Oh, that guy has a real job."
Yeah. I was thinking of the bit from Parks and Rec where Ron Swanson walks into like a Lowe's or Home Depot and somebody approaches him and he's like, "I know more than you." And, and the salesperson just turns away. There's a lot to be said though for having the right tool and how much easier jobs are when you have the right tool. And I always buy myself Lego, so I never have the right tool, but people know I'm a male and should be able to do things. So for years, people have bought me things that I've never needed to use before. And so I've got like shiny, clean toolkits that I finally got to start like pulling out. It's still got the styrofoam layer in between the fold open with the tools on both sides. It's still got like the layer of styrofoam in there. So like it's perfect. So all of those things that people thought I should have as an adult, I have. Or not all of them, but like a lot of them, never used them. And now I have a chance to. So bingo, bango, bungo.
So much feedback on your story. First of all, I love that you're proud of yourself, that you can still put in a full day's manual labor. That was very funny. Also that you said horticulture, baby, because no one's ever said that. And I like to imagine that the previous homeowner wasn't yelling at anyone. He was just standing in his front yard and yelling.
And I never said it was the husband. Could have been the wife.
Right.
So,
right. Like not yelling at people, high school kids for not coming to a complete stop or going too fast. Just standing in his front yard screaming at the top of his lungs for no reason.
Yeah, look, we live in a world where mental health and drugs and alcohol are things, and some people are just bored, So like, I don't know, and God bless them for whatever reason it is, and I hope that they get the help that they need if that's a thing. But like, I didn't care about any of that, is what I'm saying. What I was saying was, I'm in a position of strength, and I feel good about it.
That's a great place to be.
By the way, the horticulture baby. We just finished Ted Lasso, and that comes from that's the coach. That's not Ted Lasso, but that's I'm blanking on his name.
The assistant coach guy.
The assistant coach.
Beard.
Yeah. Coach Beard. Yeah. Beard. So that was, for anyone who's been listening knows that we were rewatching through Ted Lasso. We finished it and I loved it again. So just such a good show.
When we bought our first house 7 years ago, there are many ways that I think that we have we have become the favorites from the previous neighbor, but there's one way that the other neighbors like to remind me something that the previous male of the home did. He made moonshine in his garage and he would give it to the neighbors, and I don't do that. So they remind me of that often. Yeah. He used to give us moonshine.
I thought you were going to say that he mowed more than just a strip of
more than 2 strips of grass.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an interesting question, Dillon. So are you sizing up like the neighbors' yards and stuff and thinking, all right, what do I need to do to keep up here?
How hardcore do these people take their yards in this neighborhood?
Here's I want to, I'm not putting on a show here. Okay. This literally is a show we're putting on, but I mean, right now I'm not putting on a show.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about how much my lawn matters to other people, probably in this neighborhood. And the whole last week I was like, man, I got to figure out, I'm going to have to call somebody to mow, because we got the keys like last week, but my mower's not going to be there till like a week later.
Yeah.
And I can't let the yard go. So like, I got to figure something out. And, thankfully we got our keys on a Tuesday. Thankfully I'm guessing the previous owners had still been paying for, or maybe had paid through the end of the month or something. So their lawn people showed up, and it was such a huge relief that I was like, it was a thing I had been thinking about every day. Like, I got to figure out, I got to call somebody and get them out to mow. So like the new neighbors don't instantly hate me. So yeah, that's a real thing. And now I'm going to have my mower back in time, that if they don't show up again, I'll at least be able to mow it, when we move. So yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing I was concerned about. Because like some people, that's all it takes. Like you get your grass let your grass get a little long, boom, least favorite in the neighborhood, even below the hecklers, right? So like, got to be careful.
I didn't realize how much that bothers some people. I had a neighbor across the street come over and complain to me about a neighbor next to me. And he said, "Would you tell your neighbor to mow their grass?" And I was like, what? No, I didn't even really notice. It was getting long. And then he goes, "If I wanted to live in the ghetto, I'd move to the ghetto." And I was like, geez, like it upsets people. And I'm right next to it. And I noticed, but I didn't care. Like, they're going to get to it. Maybe something's wrong with their mower. Benefit of the doubt. Like,
maybe he was really talking to you, and that was his way to tell you to mow your lawn.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, lawns are one of those things that it's just funny to me how, like you said, how much people care. I care because of what Dillon put it in great words, which is I've never thought so much about how important my grass is to other people, and that's where I feel like I am. Like this year, we started paying for like the chemical services and stuff like that, and just to kind of like tamp things down. And then I'm going to try to take care of that myself once everything is sort of at a point where I feel like I can maintain it. But it's outside of that, like I don't care. I really don't. Dandelions don't bother me. They just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's nice to not have them around, but like I have neighbors who like their lawn doesn't look great. Our lawn is probably like the second worst lawn on the street. And I feel like maybe that's my comfort zone, is to be the second.
As long as it's not the worst one, right?
But but yeah, no, I just don't care. And I do find it funny that other people care. Because it's, I mean, so what if like grass gets a foot long or so, something like that?
Yeah.
It looks scragglier than yours, but it's not a meadow. Like it's fine. It's still okay. Like it's, I don't know. I don't understand it.
This is part 2 of the dad episode from last week. We're now talking about our lawns, and this will tell you how much we care about appearances. We have the front lawn chemically treated and let the back just go to pot because
there you go.
We don't want to upset anyone, clearly.
Well, I'm not paying double for my backyard.
Ours was real patchy in the front and just like big like clobs of dirt. And after about a year of True Green coming out, they've done a terrific job. They are not a sponsor.
Speaking of things that bother me, though, I will say while we were painting, my air conditioner decided to go out. And this is pretty much like the worst time of the year to be painting, like moving up and down multiple stairs and like painting up in a second level and like no AC. And the scale to which this bothered me could be measured in how far the sweat had moved down my shirt by the end of the day. So, like most people will have like, the 2 to 6 inch like sweat really, like down their shirt, down the middle, all the way to the bottom and the base of my shirt, probably through the underwear. And like, I'd be surprised if it wasn't to the base of my shorts. So, I mean, just obscene, multiple days in a row like this. And so like, it's getting to that point. It's getting to the Jurassic Park moment with Dr. whatever, the main first guy, Richard Dreyfuss, whatever his name, I can't remember, where it's like spared no expense. That's how I'm about to feel with these HVAC people. Like, spare no expense. I want this to be like tip top shape, nuclear sub. Like, this air conditioning needs to work, and it needs to work now.
I want this to be the HVAC unit that you are proud of.
Which kind is like a billionaire buy for his office building? Like, which HVAC, which industrial one is that I could put in my basement? Where's that one? So that's a thing that we're dealing with at the hottest part of the year in Ohio. So just so you know.
So you guys know, but our listeners don't. I am reporting live from a hotel room in Manhattan, Koreatown to be exact. And my wife and kids were at the painting party that Dillon hosted. And I talked to them after they left your house. And this was the first time any of us have seen your house. And they're like, the house is awesome. It's perfect for them. Finley's going to have her own room and a playroom and half the basement. So she's going to have plenty of space. The house is great. And then Sherry goes, what else, kids? And they go, it was a little hot. And then Case said, I think Uncle Dillon looked like he went swimming.
Yeah. Validates my whole story. That's exactly it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good stuff.
Yep. He is very excited to come back and have Nerf fights in our basement. It's kind of like it's like a kind of a long stretched out space down there. So I think he's thinking like target shoot back
long range. Yeah.
Love it. So
Fantastic.
I told him that absolutely anytime.
I can't wait to see it. I'm a little jealous that they got to see it today, but all in good time.
Well, just wait till that HVAC comes back on. You can come over then.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of Koreatown, I tried Korean barbecue and kimchi for the first time. It's something I've heard about. It's popular in the bigger cities, Korean barbecue, and is very good. This restaurant that I stopped at has 2 floors, second and fifth. The second, they said the menu's pretty much the same and the atmosphere is pretty much the same. So I just picked 5 because they said it was a little quieter. So I went up there. And I'm looking at all the proteins, and the girl comes over to my table and she's like, how do you feel about intestines? And I'm like, maybe for my first time at Korean barbecue, I'll pass on the intestines and entrails. What's your top selling beef that you have? And so I had the braised short rib, and they cook it at your table situation on a little grill, similar to a hibachi, but it's not a big flat what do they call the flat iron like that? It's just a small little grill. And they bring out all the sides and all the fixins and steamed egg and rice, and it was really, really good. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I passed on the intestines, pun intended.
I mean, that feels a little strong for like the first suggestion. Like I don't know, we're not from New York or LA where
I think she was doing, you don't look like you come here often. This is probably something you're going to want to avoid. Let me just confirm, you don't want any intestines, right? That's how I took it.
That's a good. If so, then that's a good approach. Just you're a server, just bring up the word intestines, gauge their reaction, and then from there you know what direction you need to head.
Similarly, in our area, though, the parallel would be also a concern about your intestines. A lot of Mexican restaurants here will ask if you want the refried beans or not with a dish that might include it, because they know how many people might not want the refried beans and might be concerned about their intestines. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's
How
a
do you
thing.
feel about your intestines? Good point. Let's skip the beans.
Let's hold on the refried beans for you. We have our gentle and delicate Midwest bellies to think about.
Yeah.
So I had a funny story to share, and it's kind of two stories. The first one's probably not good enough to stand on its own, but it ends up being context for the second story. So I'll start with the less exciting one. So you guys know I ride a motorcycle by now. I've talked about it a few times, and I got myself, I'm going to share my screen. I got myself one of these mounts for my phone. It's a RAM mount, and it's called an X grip. And the metal X there in the image, I'm sharing the image on YouTube, has these little rubber stoppers on it that are actually the things holding your phone. And that metal X, you just squeeze it, and it's high tension. So it's enough to grab your phone so intensely that there's no way it would slip out vertically, right? So all you got to do is push the right side and squeeze that X together, and your phone releases. So 4th of July, I'm riding my motorcycle 90-ish miles up to Grandma and Grandpa's house for for 4th of July, where we're having all the 4th of July festivities. One of those little rubber feet comes off.
Oh no!
Without my knowledge, and I'm just riding at 80 miles an hour when something hits my chest, and it's my phone. And then it hits my chest and slowly slides down into my lap. So I'm going 80 miles an hour on two wheels. I didn't even realize that it had flown off. Hits my chest. It's a miracle that it didn't fly behind me on the highway. And it slides down into my lap. And so I just shove it between my crotch and the seat to just like hold on to it till I get to Grandma and Grandpa's. Well, RAM, I found out, has a lifetime warranty on their products. And so I take a photo of the missing little rubber thing on the one part of the X. And then another one of the little rubber things was starting to chew through. So the metal bar was tearing the rubber. So it was going to fail at some point as well. And so I email photos and I tell them a story of what's happened. And I assume they're going to just, because what they say on their website is, we don't send you the whole assembly. We'll just ship back the part that failed. So I'm like, really? They're going to ship me back one stinking little rubber foot? I was very excited to hear that RAM Mount did the right thing by me and shipped 4 new little rubber grips and some super glue so I could super glue those things to the metal bar. So I'm very excited. I lay out like a little surface on the countertop in the kitchen, and I'm getting ready to repair my RAM mount, because I really do enjoy having my phone right in the center of the handlebars of the bike. I don't ever text or anything crazy like that. But if I get like 7 texts in a row or 7 calls in a row, something urgent might be happening. So that's nice to know. It's not my pocket. They give you a little single-use tube of super glue to install the new rubber feet, and I can't get it open. It's a little tiny tube, and I'm like, how do you get this thing open? It's a lot of plastic at the tip, and I'm like, I try like pushing a straight pin through the tip. That's not working, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I just grabbed some scissors and I cut the tip while I was squeezing with my other hand, and a globule of super glue goes right into my open eyeball.
Oh.
So immediately a bunch of things run through my head. Is this serious? Will this act like an acid and like slowly start burning its way back into my eyeball? Could I super glue my eye shut? So as I'm thinking all of these things, I'm stripping my clothes off to go to the upstairs shower to just start taking the handle of the shower head and just start flushing my eye with lukewarm water while I speakerphone dial Sherry, who never answers her phone. And I'm like, because I don't have time to like Google, that could be precious time that I'm losing my eyesight, right?
Right.
So I'm speakerphone dialing Sherry, who's on a walk with her sister, and her phone is in her car. So now I'm doing I have enough vision to do the Find My iPhone. I'm in the shower, completely naked, lukewarm water, flushing my eye out. Now I'm doing the Find My iPhone thing. So her phone beeps loudly. So she gets to her phone so I can say, Google how serious this is, right? Anyway, the Google search turns up quite a spectrum of results. One says get to a doctor immediately, and another says to date there's never been serious vision loss or anything critical from super glue in the eye. What it does is it'll actually connect itself to the proteins in your eye, and you'll eventually just blink it out. You might have blurry vision for a day or two, but it's nothing super serious because it'll attach to those proteins. So this is what Sherry and her sister, who was in nursing school, have deduced. They think I'm okay. Just keep rinsing it for 10 more minutes while they make their way home. So everything ends up being okay. And I didn't want to alarm anyone, but at the same time, I needed somebody to do their due diligence so that I could figure out if I needed to go to the emergency room. So,
right.
Sherry's sister goes back home. Sherry's home now. Sherry and her sister are texting. Hey, how did everything go? Is everything all right? Sherry's like, yeah, everything's fine. Janet, Sherry's sister, replies with a winky face emoji. Which she always does. She always does that with her sister. It was not contingent on the situation. Had nothing to do with that. She goes, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Please, that's just the regular winky face that I send. It's not a eye that's super glued shut. But do show this to Kory once he's in better spirits about what happened. So anyway, I wouldn't have told the motorcycle story alone, but it ends up telling you why I was messing with a tube of super glue.
Question. When ever do you ever, is it ever, how do I phrase this? When is it ever a good idea to cut something open aimed at your face, where the open end is going to aim at your face? Can you give me one example of anything ever created?
Those frozen popsicles that come in just like the clear plastic
Flavor
tube.
ice.
You aim it at you. What if you cut
That's
it?
a good idea too.
In your eye.
What?
It's kind of sharp. The ends of those are kind of sharp. What if?
No, I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is losing out on like that little half-inch of ice that I had to cut off with.
No. You cut it over the counter, and then you pick it up and you go, and you take a little bit out of the end. You
just
like
a little shot.
Yeah.
I put everything in, like scissors and everything, into my mouth and just do business.
No.
Okay, fair question, Dillon. I was not staring down the barrel of the single-use super glue container. I was holding it perpendicular to my face, but I cut it with such force and excitement that one little speck flew back and hit me in the right eyeball. So I wasn't looking down the barrel of the thing.
Okay.
Okay.
And
because that would be stupid.
Yeah. And I have had one successful ride with my freshly repaired RAM mount and phone. So that's good.
And how do you feel about your intestines? Everything good? No
We'll
glue made its way.
We'll find out after we hear a word from some of our friends in the Odd Pods Media Network.
Hey, this is Russ.
This is Kyle.
This is Michelle.
From the Infectious Groove Podcast. Join us every Monday for the most fun you can have with a music podcast. The Infectious Groove Podcast uses a positive and fun approach as we take time every week to share our jammy jams, then dig into a thought-provoking topic discussing all decades and genres of music. You can find the Infectious Groove Podcast on all major podcast platforms, or you can head to infectiousgroovepodcast.com to find us there and subscribe. We might have a controversial opinion here or there, but we always have fun with it.
Oh, I'm sure I'll say something dumb.
Subscribe to the Infectious Groove Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network.
And we're back. Did you think that the RAM mount story was important context for the super glue and the eye story, or could I just left that out?
No,
I mean, if you have a podcast.
If you have a podcast, people have told me that sometimes I give way too much context, but I feel like people really need to appreciate the story. And so like some background and a little history and why was I messing with the tube of super glue to begin with? I feel like that's all important color and it leaves you hanging.
Well,
yeah, I've been given the exact same feedback over the course of my life, and my wife in particular, who like often wants me to just sort of get on with the story. And I'm like, no, I will not. I will not just get on with the story.
I refuse. In fact, you're dragging it out by even bringing any of this up.
Yeah, now I have to start over.
Yeah.
So because you upset the flow.
I mean, it might be true that sometimes there can be too much context, but it's also true that some people have bad taste. And so it's very possible that they just don't have good taste in stories.
It's not as entertaining if I say I was messing with a tube of super glue and got some in my eyeball. There's danger because I was driving 80 miles an hour with there's the potential loss of a whatever $100 phone. Now you know why I was messing with this thing to begin with. Important, I think. Thanks for agreeing.
It is important. Any new shoes? Kendall, what kind did you talk about last week?
Merrell's.
Merrell.
I might have to convert. Here's why. We talked about a couple of days of hard labor. I just want to stress how much work I've been doing. So people know. You know, when you take your kids to the pediatrician and there's the little like chart of the cartoon drawn out person, and it's like, where does it hurt? Like, Kory, you very kindly text me like, hey, I heard you had a long day. Like, are you still up for doing the podcast? And immediately it was like in my head, I was like, the mind is willing, but the body is not able. On that little chart, it's like my feet, you could it really, if I was there, I could rip the feet off of the little caricature in the pediatrician's office and say they're dead. Those my feet are dead. That's what hurts. And it feels like it's never going to get better. And so I think I need some more comfortable shoes. I'm wearing I've been working in my very old tennis shoes that I used to like mow the grass. And so I'm sure they're worn down.
I wonder if it's just like worn down is the thing. In my mind, like I was thinking that you were thinking I need to switch the kind of shoes that I buy. But the reality, it sounds like insoles were just worn out or something.
Well, maybe. I'm open. Did we get any feedback about your new shoes? Was there anybody that reached out that said, Kendall's right, that's absolutely the kind of shoe you should wear?
No, but I mean, those ones I've worn just about every day since I've gotten them.
No complaints.
Does Merrell also
any complaints?
Does Merrell also make basically the same exact thing, but there's no fabric between the leather, so it's the sandals? Is it them who makes those adventure sandals?
I think there's a lot of companies that make those.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if Merrell made those.
Gotcha.
As well. Merrell makes they're hiking everything, so I'm sure if there's hiking sandals, Merrell's in that market, and then there's the shoes and boots, obviously.
You know something that's apparently true, but like I don't like that it's true. I went to a sporting goods store a couple years ago, and at the time I was working a job where I was on my feet a lot. And so I asked, like, what's something that's really going to hold up? Like a nice brand. I just need them to be neutral colors. And this felt like a pitch, but like, he's like, the salesperson's like, it doesn't really matter what you buy. All shoes, if you wear them regularly, you're going to get 6 months and they're toast. That feels wrong. I'm sure he's not. He sells shoes. If you wear them all the time, they probably will. But like, that feels wrong. It feels like a sales pitch, but I don't know why. I'm still only going to buy one pair of shoes.
I was going to say, when I buy a pair of shoes, I tend to wear that shoe like all the time. And I mean,
like every man, right?
I've certainly never gotten less than a year out of a pair of shoes.
And that's the thing. Maybe I don't understand what he was trying to say. Maybe he was saying, the insole really is going to be most supportive if you're wearing it like as your daily driver. The insole might be good for 6 months.
I don't know.
Maybe that's what he was saying. I don't care.
That feels wrong to me too.
It feels wrong. If anybody listening knows, please fill us in. I feel like there's the buy it for life people that are like, I've got Carhartt boots from 1976 and I've worn them every day. And I feel like there's those people that could chime in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just a thing.
Kendall, everything I read about your Merrills after our episode was as you said, like they're very highly rated for their arch support and comfort and all of the things. So
yeah, they're wonderful. Glad I stumbled into them. I would say there's a shoe that I would try out if I were a person looking for new shoes, which I'm not. I've landed. But Skechers makes a slip-in shoe now. It's like a tie-up shoe, and the heel is designed so that you can just like step into the shoe. Like,
I have a story.
I don't know why that's
shoes.
so important to me, but that's important to me to be able to put on a pair of tie shoes. So if I have to like cinch them up and go climb a rock, I can do that. Sure. But for everyday purposes, when I'm just painting the house and then going to the convenience store for Gatorade, I don't untie or tie my shoes. I got to be able to just slip them on, and what's even better is when you get the perfect combination of tightness and heel style, when you don't even have to like put your fingers down there as a shoehorn, you can just put them on and go.
I have a story about shoes that you can just slip on, and maybe for people who can't reach down and tie their shoes. And that's in episode 85 of this podcast, where I stole some shoes from the handicap. So if you want to go back and listen to that, Jim, enjoy.
Yeah.
I have some very exciting news on the music front. So I have an artist. I have an artist that I know I've mentioned before on the podcast. And Kendall, I think you reacted strongly when I mentioned Mark Rebier, Loop Daddy.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Yeah. So he's now on some commercials. I forget the commercials that he's doing now. Nice. I'm gonna look. Maybe Dillon can look that up while I'm talking. The commercials that Mark. Okay, thanks. So Mark Rebier is he started off in like a weird little corner of the internet and does looping where he lays down individual tracks. Where he lays down individual tracks, but he's doing it all live. So he's making the song up completely on the spot, just based on what he feels in the moment. And
how would you spell Mark and Rebier?
Mark is with a C, and Rebier is Rebillet. So Mark has grown. He's kind of blown up in popularity. He's hanging out with some of the most well-known producers and music artists, and he's touring right now.
Does it feel like Fitbit? Does that feel like
one? Fitbit commercial? That's right. He's on a Fitbit commercial right now. You'll recognize him because he has long hair, glasses, and he wears a bathrobe when he's doing his performances in his apartment. So my former colleague Stefan, who I know listens to the podcast, is the one that told me about Mark, and I highly recommend you Google the video "How to Funk in 2 Minutes." That's a great introduction to Mark and his style and what he does. So Stefan and his son Tim went to see Mark in Cologne, Germany, where Stefan lives. And he said it's one of the greatest concerts he's ever been to. He said he's just such a weird and interesting guy. He puts on a great show because every song is new. It's just, you feel like you're getting a unique experience. So the week that Grandma passed away a few weeks ago, I start getting a few messages from Stefan, and sometimes I can't understand his text speech with his accent via text. And he says something along the lines of, "No one can argue with you going to see the Mad Crazy Genius because it will have been a gift," or something like that. And I'm like, what is he talking about? So I didn't respond. And then a day or two later, he said, "Hope all is well. Just want to make sure the transfer went through okay." And I'm like, what? He got me 2 tickets to see Mark Rebier in Columbus in October.
Yeah, dude.
So what a class act. Cool dude. Thank you, Stefan. Such an unexpected and generous gift. So I get to go see Loop Daddy at the whatever it's called live venue. It's a half outdoor venue here. Kemba Live here in Columbus in October. So very excited. And I just wanted to say thank you to Stefan because that's very, very nice and cool.
That's freaking awesome,
man.
Stefan.
Yeah. So anyway,
I
what
love
are you
it.
guys listening to these days while you're painting houses and hiking trails?
You know who you have us listening to now, and it's been a ton of fun finding new covers. Teddy Swims.
Oh yeah.
You told us about Teddy Swims.
Dude's got pipes.
And I think he dropped it 2 years ago, but we just found it. I don't know what it is, but just look up Teddy Swims and you can go in and find a couple like covers of things you like. Let Me Love You was good. Broke Eight. Oh, he covered Shania Twain's You're Still the One.
Yes.
So good. Broke is really funny. Dose is really good. So we're listening to a lot of that. And
his Tennessee whiskey, by the way,
Tennessee whiskey
is amazing. It's very slowed down, but it's great.
Yeah, very good. We don't have Wi-Fi at the new place yet, so I was also streaming some stuff on my phone, which, you know, we listen to a lot of Torrin Wells. My daughter really likes her. I'm a big Michael Bublé fan. I did a lot of like Rat Packy stuff that was very calming while I was painting. So that's some of the stuff that I've been listening to, but new stuff that people wouldn't know would be like Teddy Swims is really good.
Yeah. Sweet. Kendall, you got any new jams? Or are you sticking with the classics? Your classics?
I don't really have anything new. I kind of rotate through stuff. So I mean, I got rehooked on Hardy there for a while.
Yeah.
But
some of my friends, by the way, from some of my friends from our hometown. So country concert's a big deal up there in Northwest Ohio, and Hardy was there. And I've got a bunch of people on Facebook right now that are like, "Oh my gosh, had never heard of this guy or had never seen him live, and this was by far my favorite part of country concert."
Dude, it's so much fun. I love stories like his, where it's just like Hardy literally is what happens when a very talented songwriter decides to record his own stuff.
Yep.
And he made a wonderful decision.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a very good, very creative writer. No, so lately, my kids and I in the car, I ask them what they want to listen to, and lately the answer has almost always been metal. Is what I'm hearing from my kids. And so like I've been listening to metal with the kids in the car. And for us that often means there's a here, okay, I'll throw one band out there that'll be new to a lot of people, and that's Becoming the Archetype. Becoming the Archetype. So they're a metal, I think they're a metal duo. It's a guy who plays instruments and then another guy who plays drums. And then I ran into them live one time. They were an opener for a band that I was there to actually see. And they blew me away as an opening act, which was really
Did they
cool.
really do How Great Thou Art?
Show. Oh, yeah.
Like the hymn?
Like the hymn.
Awesome.
That's not all they do, but like they do play around with some stuff like that.
That's got to be awesome.
But no, they're cool. Their albums that I've listened to have cool feel to them. They kind of take you through a story, as it were, with music.
Nice. I'm a big fan of Baby Metal, who made history as the youngest band to perform at Japan's Loud Park Music Festival, which included Slayer and Metallica. That's who I love to listen to.
That's your favorite metal?
Baby Metal is my favorite. Yep, all one word. Just Google it.
So, Becoming the Archetype, and then old favorites of mine, Norma Jean and Showbread, who I'm pretty sure I've talked about before on this podcast.
speaking of old favorites, and I know we're all over the map, and that's my fault. Sorry, not sorry. I just introduced Lily, who you guys know has been skateboarding.
Mhm.
I introduced her to the classic Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on the PlayStation.
Oh, nice.
There was a remaster that came out a few years ago with all the original tracks from that game, and it's so much fun. And they did such a good job. It's like takes me back to those days of, I think it was PlayStation 1 or 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. But man, she's really enjoying it, and it's cool because it's like actual skaters, actual clothing and shoe brands, actual decks and grip tape and stuff. And there's, I mean, we've always said people love customization in video games, and you can customize, create your own skater and stuff like that. So she was also excited to hear that there's a Zoomies, which is a skateboard shop right next to the Amazon office and the Empire State Building here in Manhattan. So I popped in there for her to see if I could get her a little something from there. But anyway,
cool.
Super proud of her, man. Like she's, I think I told she's dropping in now, which means she's putting the back of her skateboard at the top of a half pipe. And it's one of the most intimidating things to do because you have to just tilt and go 4, 5, 6 feet down into a ramp. And she's dropping in, which her skate instructor said is one of the hardest things to sort of overcome. But anyway, she's doing a great job. I'm really, really proud of her. She's having a lot of fun with it. So anyway.
Very good.
Also, speaking of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 or 2, Kory, your little guy Case was over for paint party, and he was telling me all about it, the Pro Skater game. And I said, I'm pretty sure that's a remaster of a game that your dad and I played when we were little, and played it a lot. Like a lot. Like I think it was a wildly popular game, which is why they remastered it. But I remember all the little hidden stuff and tips and tricks and trying to get up onto buildings and things. And like it just, you could get on top of a gymnasium and like drop in and just some wild stuff. So I think it blew his mind a little bit. I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure, but you're going to have to ask your dad if that's the same one that we played when we were
same game. They just took an Unreal Engine over top of the whole entire game, top to bottom, and improved every aspect of the graphics and the physics. And it's great. Finding all the letters of the word skate, and then you got to find the hidden tape, and then you can like try to hit the different point tiers. If you can get 10,000, if you can get 50,000, 75,000, man, it's so fun.
That's awesome.
Anyway, our grief burrito friends will appreciate that we talked about gaming. So anyway, anything else, fellas? Or we want to cut this one short? We feel good?
Got to get back to back,
man. Yeah. Enjoy New York, my friend.
Thanks. I know I said this last time I was here, and I'm on the same side of the same hotel. So I do have a view of the Empire State Building right outside this window. And I wanted to try to go to the Comedy Cellar, a famous New York City comedy club. I think I'm going to grab an Uber as soon as we're done recording and head down there and see if I can get in. So
if you want to,
I'll let you know.
If you want somebody to go to heckle, I can shoot off an email.
You know a guy who's good at yelling at people?
Yeah, I know a girl. I don't know.
Or a gal. Yeah. Way to bring it full circle. Well, this has been fun. Thank you for joining us for another dad venting session, dad hangout session here on From the Middle, a comedy culture, and entertainment and interview style podcast where we just hang out and hope that you feel like you were a part of the conversation. So thanks again, Artiest Man. I'm wearing the Beard Balm. The Beard Balm is one of their best products. Beard Butter is also a hit. They make amazing men's grooming and beard care products. You should check them out at www.artiestman.com. That's ARTIUSMAN.com. Use promo code The Middle. That's The Middle at checkout to get 25% off of your first order. And then all of your subsequent orders will be tacked to us as the person who referred you. So it helps them, it helps you, it helps us. And we really appreciate it. And we will see you. Our episodes drop every Wednesday morning. We've been doing that very consistently for almost coming up on 3 years, if you can believe it. So is that right? 3 years or over 3 years? It's been a while.
Over 3 years.
Over 3 years. Yeah, over 3 years.
Yeah, way past 3 years.
So stay tuned. We will have a couple guests lined up soon, and we just like hanging out. So have a great week. Be kind to each other and go paint something.
Thanks, Ellen.